Hello, I've made some videos in English about language learning, and I've made some about several languages which I more or less can speak. I've made a couple of about travels and about books and projects relating to language learning. Well, a couple of days ago I met an old acquaintance in the bus, Kim Hansen, who, strangely enough, could remember my old surrealistic paintings from the 70s and 80s up to the mid 90s, where I stopped making them. And I thought it could be a subject for a new series of videos here at YouTube. So this will be the first item in that series. Most of the videos, as I planned the series, will be in English, but as soon as I can get a chance to speak some other language, I will of course do it. That means I have, for instance, made a language series once where I painted poems and novels and things like that by different authors from representing different languages, and it would be natural to use those languages when I speak about it. And you cannot be sure that everything I say in those other languages will be translated into English here, because I'm not going to stay with the old format I have used with foreign language and then in the second half a translation or summary into English. I'll be mixing them here. The first video, well, it would be natural to start with the beginnings. And the beginnings in this case is when my maternal grandpa came back from a big cruise in the Mediterranean in the early 60s, where that was not very common yet. And he had not bought anything for any of his grandchildren. So he was persuaded to give us something. And I chose a paint set with colors and pencils and canvas, and I started out. I have very few of these pictures now because they've been overpainted, they've been thrown out, but my mother has got one, and you'll see it here. And if you tell me that even Henri Rousseau made better jungles, then I'm not going to disagree. Det andet sprog i den her video, det vil selvfølgelig blive dansk. Fordi jeg er dansker, og fordi det handler om mine unge dage, der foregik i Danmark. Min bedstefader, min morfar, kom tilbage fra et kæmpe krydstogt i Middelhavet en gang omkring 263. Og han havde ikke købt en disse for nogen af os. Heller ikke hans, her var det 4 barnebarn. Så fik han jo læst og påskrevet, og vi fik at vide, at vi måtte vælge et eller andet, og jeg valgte et malersæt med farver og pensler og et lærred, og jeg gik i gang. Det første billede, der blev vist her, det er en tukan. Og jeg ved godt, at der er bedre jungler i verden. Men det her det er altså et af de første. Og som jeg malede, de fleste fra den tid, de er selvfølgelig gået tabt, fordi jeg har malet dem over, og de røget ud af et eller andet. Nu malede jeg jo den der berømte tukan der, som vi lige har set. Men det næste, jeg gik i gang med, det var, jeg var meget interesseret i zoologisk nomenklatur på det tidspunkt. Så jeg gik i gang med en serie over alle Danmarks fugle. Well, after the first toucan which you just saw, I started out with the major project. I wanted to paint all birds in Denmark, and I did it. You can see some of those in the next couple of pictures, and well, it was not really meant as art. I thought of it as something like the drawings you will find in a field guide or something like that. Maybe not as precise, but I tried to get the details correct. And one little detail you may remark, the names are only in Latin on those. I painted them in the mid-60s. I was maybe 13, 14 years old at that time, so it testifies to my interest in zoological nomenclature and Latin. So after that I started out with a new project, I had to find something to do, so I painted some pictures of extinct animals from starting with Cambrian and Ordoviciums, Devon, Silver, Carbon, and up to the Holocene. But over the years, they became more and more yellow, as you can see. Som man kan se, så var de jo noget gullige. De hang i en spisestue, de her billeder af fortidsdyr og diverse perioder i jordens historie. De var blevet gullige, så jeg malede dem over, og jeg var ret hårdhændet. Så jeg har vist dem i den gullige version, og nu kommer så den blålige version, vil jeg sige. Den med de skarpe farver og de skarpe kulører, og man kan sige, det er næsten som at male dem forfra, fordi de ligner jo ikke helt de oprindelige. As you can see, I have repainted them at some time because they were so yellow and dirty, and it was it was like painting them from anew because the result is quite different from the first version. But otherwise, you can see here the Cambrian with trilobites and Ordovicium, and after that, Silur. Those three periods where all life was in the sea, followed by Devon, where plants started to invade the land, and Carbon, where the whole earth was full of jungles with strange large insects and things like that, up through the Permian, Triassic and Jurassic, and so on. I got through all the periods, and all the animals are actually, well, I would say mostly correct, as correct as you can be when the paleontologists change the rules of the game while I'm painting. But there is a limited number of periods in the history of the Earth, so I came through also that. And I thought, well, what should I do now? So I painted a crocodile here. This is the only extant picture of the crocodile, and it has been split into pieces and used for other projects later. But I finished my crocodile. Jeg blev færdig med krokodillen, efter jeg var færdig med jordens historie. Og så stod jeg med problemet. Hvad nu? Jeg skulle jo finde på et eller andet at male. Jeg gad altså ikke male mennesker og kedelige ting og den slags 3 appelsiner på et bord, og hvad man nu ellers skulle finde på. Så fandt jeg på, at jeg ville lave et rigtig åndssvagt mærkværdigt billede. After the other projects, I went back and I thought I didn't want to make, for instance, 3 oranges on a table or paint pictures of human beings or other boring things. So I decided to make something weird, and weird in the painting is called surrealistic. At that time I was studying in Aarhus, but I had my painting things in Kolding with my family, so I came down with mostly with 3 weeks or so interval, and each time I painted a part of this picture you can see on the screen now. The big problem was, of course, that in those 3 weeks I would forget totally what I really wanted to paint. I ended up with maybe 7 or 8 small paintings in one big painting, and they didn't integrate in any way. So I decided, much later, I have to say, I decided it was not good enough, and I cut it up into individual paintings. Those function each on its own terms, but it was still not really what I wanted. So at the end, I took a board and I managed to fit in all those individual pictures, and then I framed each of those, and now I've got one meta picture, one picture with more pictures inside it. And now I think it works again. and the result is as you see it on the screen. Altså, jeg fandt på, at jeg ville male noget, og underligt i malerhistorien, det er surrealisme. Så blev jeg surrealistisk maler. Og det man kan se her, den første version, hvor jeg malede med måske 3 ugers mellemrum, når jeg var nede og besøgte min familie. Og det man kan se, det er, at billedet hænger ikke sammen. De enkelte dele var for så vidt ikke ringe, synes jeg selv, og det synes jeg stadig ikke. Men det helheden var noget bras. Så på et tidspunkt, så skar jeg det op i små stykker og lavede enkeltbilleder af det. Det var nu heller ikke godt, for de hang jo sammen. Det var jo et stort billede, det kunne jeg godt huske. Og så fandt jeg på en smart løsning. Jeg tog en hvad er det nu, det hedder, ikke masonikplade, en eller anden stor plade, en stor brun plade og et eller andet sammenklistret træflis, eller hvad der hedder. Og så satte jeg de der billeder på, og indrammede hver af dem separat på det der. Og nu har jeg et metabillede, kan man sige. For det indeholder alle de gamle billeder, men nu kan man se, at det ikke er tanken, det skal hænge sammen. Men det hele danner alligevel en bedre enhed, end det gjorde før. Så nu har jeg det, som det skal se ud. Og dette repræsenterer altså min start som surrealistisk maler. This is my first surrealistic painting. And even in its present state, where it has been cut up and reassembled, it is still the beginning of me as a surrealistic painter. Well, but I'd say I have said goodbye to that time, and I don't paint anymore. I might start again when but frankly, if I should do something in that direction, I would probably use a computer now instead of paint and brushes. So my time as a surrealistic painter is over. But in the next videos, I'll go through some of my photos of paintings and lump them together in a suitable way and speak strange languages when I get the chance. And I suppose there can be a nice little series of videos out of that. Goodbye. Bye bye.